Good morning. Welcome. I'm going to do a course review for the ITIL version 4. This is lecture 4 about service strategy, otherwise known as services strategy. I don't know how you phrase it. Just a quick objectives. We have 3 objectives for this section. Number 1, a more in-depth understanding of service strategy. Okay? Number 2, what is the business purpose of the objectives in service strategy? Number 3, basic concepts which fails in providing business and service value. Let's first talk about the ITIL service strategy, and this is version 4 that is. Number 1, we have strategy whereby a service provider will deliver services to meet customer requirements. Number 2, defining a strategy for how to manage those services. Okay? So, in this strategy we have processes. Okay? Now, process, we have strategy management for IT services, we have service portfolio management, we have financial management for IT services, we have demand management, and we have business relationship management. Keep in mind that also we have other things related called pipeline, catalog, retired services, which is phased out services, financial management, and business case. Now from there's 2 main deviations under purposes and objectives. For the purpose, we have perspective, position plans and patterns that a service provider needs to be able to execute to meet an organization's business outcomes. And we also have objectives. What is the strategy going to be? It's the ability to define how value is created and delivered. It's a means to identify and exploit opportunities to provide services. It's a clear service provision model that articulates how services will be delivered and funded, to whom they will be delivered and for what purpose. Now we should consider scope. In scope, it includes generic service management principles and procedures. It applies to internal and external service provider. And in that, we have 2 aspects that are covered by service strategy. Number 1, guide on how the service provider meets business outcomes, and number 2, defining a strategy for how to manage services. Now, in terms of business value of service strategy, we need to consider that it enables clear understanding of the services desired by the business. Number 2, it supports flexibility in response to the changing business environment. Number 3, quantifies service through the portfolio. It's a portfolio of services. Enabling services and activities with critical outcomes. It facilitates communication between the service provider and its customers. It enables effective service provider organization. All right. Now, also we should talk about service value basic concept, which is warranty and utility. Fitness for use. Assurance of product or service will meet agreed upon requirements. Requires suitable design, implementation, control, and maintenance. In terms of warranty plus utility equals business value created. So keep that in mind in terms of the equation and what to consider. Now, in terms of risk management as a basic concept, we have this idea of what a risk is in terms of the ITIL, and that's the possible event that it could create harm, loss, or affect the ability to achieve objectives or even uncertainty of outcome. It's also measured by the probability of a threat, vulnerability of the asset to that threat, and the impact of what it would have, of course, at the time. Also, we need to consider executing a service strategy that would implement a plan to deal with risks. That is, identifying a risk, which is naming and documenting, analyzing the risk, which is quantifying probability and impact, and managing the risk, which is agree, implement, review the action plan. In terms of governance, we need to consider the policies and strategies that are actually implemented. We need to consider required processes that are currently followed. We also need to consider roles and responsibilities for measuring, reporting, and taking action. That is, to resolve any issues identified are defined. And finally, let's talk about demand management pattern of business activity. Okay, it falls under the category of being responsible for understanding, anticipating, influencing customer demand for services. It's subdivided into three. It has three criteria. Number one is strategic level involves analysis of patterns of business activity and user profiles. Number two is a tactical level involves use of differential charging. That is, by definition, to encourage customers to use IT services at less buy times to respond to unexpected demand or failure of a continual improvement, otherwise known as a CI. So, from last time, if you remember, by the way, if you haven't seen the previous videos, you should see the previous videos in terms of the acronyms. So one of them is Continual Improvement Initiative and also Continual Improvement, which is kind of loosely and interchangeably used, but that's what it is. The last thing we need to consider is the objective to analyze, track, monitor, and document patterns of business activity. That is to predict the current and future demand of services. Now, remember that all relates to the service strategy. Alright, so that will do it for this section. And just in case you want to know what the numerical number for the section is, 2.3 of ITIL version 4. Alright, so if you follow this information I have, it's pretty much Cliff Notes. You should be fine. There are books that will explain each concept to you, but it's pretty much it's self-explanatory. But some of the stuff you need to read and just to get familiarity at least the first or second time. Alright, so with that being said, I'd like to ask you please click like on the video. That way it'll be pushed through the algorithm and more people will be able to view the video and be able to benefit from the click notes that I provide. Number two, if you haven't already, please click subscribe. That way you'll have access to all the videos on this channel, which I have quite a bit. Not only the ITIL, but other subjects. And by the way, I'll be adding more subjects, so stay tuned for that. And also, if you haven't, please click the bell button on this video. That way you'll be informed of notified of all the new videos that I publish. And we'll be uploading this to YouTube and Rumble. Okay, so I'd like to again thank you for watching the video. I wish that you have a great day, great weekend, and I'll talk to you next time. Probably next Tuesday when I upload the next video. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.